Girls that gave the nice guy a chance. How did it go? What's your story? I decided to give this guy a chance. He seemed pretty smart and gave me good vibes, as he didn't look anything like the guys I usually dated. We weren't even 1 month into dating, and he was criticizing everything I did. Why do I go to university? Why do I live where I live? Why do I do my makeup? Why do I do popular things? He hated everything that popular people did, which I wasn't. He just had this idea that there are things that popular people do and things that only nice people do, which is crazy considering the fact that we were already in our 20s. He was 28, talking about this pointless unpopular versus popular thing like high schoolers. He thought going shopping was absolutely wrong. Why should I go to the mall when I could buy stuff online from tinier stores? And other weird things like eating sushi with friends or doing my nails in a nail salon were completely wrong. Also, every time he thought I was mad at him, he deleted me on every social media. It was frustrating, tiring, and hurting. So eventually, I stopped talking to him, and now I'm labeled as a popular basic B, just like the rest of the females that wouldn't date him. Story 2. I married one, and it didn't go well. We were high school sweethearts, and we both had self esteem issues. He had the typical girls only go for tattooed bad boys and never give nice guys a chance battle cry. He asked me on a date, so I gave him a chance. At first, I really was madly in love with him. We eloped when I was 18. I thought it would be my fairy tale, that we would live happily ever after, and boy was I wrong. He joined the army when we finished high school, and he wouldn't let me have a job, as he claimed he was scared something would happen to me while I was at work or out in the city. So, I didn't work and stayed home basically 24/7 unless he took me somewhere. When he got out, we moved back to our hometown and he still wanted me to stay home until he realized we couldn't afford a place without another income. Only then did he ask me to get a job. And so we bought a house. He isolated me from friends and family and discouraged me talking to anyone except his parents. It was harder for him to keep me away from people when we moved back home, so he resorted to trash talking everyone at every opportunity. So I kept my distance from people to prove to him that I loved him. He also routinely accused me of cheating. If I so much as mentioned another man, whether a friend, coworker, or customer at my job, he'd say something like, "He probably wants to get in your pants," or "You probably want to sleep with him." It kept me jumping through hoops to prove my faithfulness. He treated our love life as a transaction. He said things like, "I did the dishes after I cooked you dinner, so you owe me this." When he was done, he would immediately jump out of bed, lock himself in the bathroom, and thoroughly cleanse himself while I kept feeling dirty and used. I thought this was just normal in a marriage, as I had never been with anyone before, but I didn't enjoy it even once. After so many years of this, my self esteem was at an extremely low point. An opportunity arose for me to actually cheat, so I took it. At the time, I figured I was treated like a cheater already, so I might as well have the fun of actually doing it. I told on myself. We separated for a while, and he made me tell everyone we knew that I had cheated, and that was why we were separating. I moved out of the house and stayed with my parents. Once I was good and humiliated in front of everyone we knew, he cried and begged me to come back. Promised the world, we would have kids, he was so sorry, he loved me, our love could conquer everything, etc. I thought at this point that I was lucky to have him take me back, because I was such a scummy piece of gutter trash, and he was the only one who would treat me good. I know now that the cheating was wrong, and I own that. I should have left then. But I didn't. I went back. I thought things would get better, but they only got worse. One night, a friend asked me to have a couple drinks with her at a bar near our homes. Within walking distance, he approved of me going. Once in the bar, my phone was out of signal, and 30 minutes later, he stormed through the doors and dragged me out, taking me to home. His excuse? He apparently thought someone would try to drug me. Still, I stayed. He had me convinced that any other man in the world would just use me and ghost me, or cheat on me and beat me. And since he was so nice as to cook and clean, I should feel lucky. Once I hit 30, I started fantasizing about having an affair. It was then I realized that I didn't like the person I was becoming. I still had terrible self esteem and thought I'd never find another partner. But I also thought that I'd rather be alone than continue in my miserable marriage. Just the thought of it felt so freeing, so I finally left him for good. It is to this day the best decision I have ever made. Nice guys who advertise their niceness are usually not nice at all. They use basic, bare minimum niceness as leverage to get what they want. The actual good ones won't say it with their words. They just are. They listen. They help out without expecting rewards, simply because that's what adults in relationships do. I'm sure there are good men out there. Just beware of the ones that keep claiming they are one of them. Just a quick side note. If you like the content and like listening to our stories, smash the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Now, back to the stories. Story 3. Met a nice guy on Tinder 5 years ago. He was really awkward with few social skills, but he had a really cute dog, so I figured why not. When I met him, I was shocked how better he looked in real life than on his Tinder profile pics. He was a little quiet, but he listened to everything I told him. The date went amazing and he behaved like a true gentleman. Sadly, he didn't try to kiss me, so I kissed him. Everything was going so smoothly, the entire first 2 months of the relationship, I was terrified thinking I was being gaslit because he was just too nice. I had a history of abusive relationships. 2 years later, we are engaged, just bought 9 acres of land to build a farm, and discovered we are pregnant last night. He's still really awkward, and his dog is still really cute. Story 4. I was coming out of a string of really bad toxic relationships, so I promised myself that I would try to find a nice guy to date. Well, I had a first date with this one guy. We'll call him Tim. It was a fine date. He was nice and we had fine conversation. I didn't feel any immediate chemistry, but I was also not used to dating guys who weren't total a-holes, so I figured that was why I didn't feel an immediate connection. I told myself I'd go on one more date with him and see if the connection grew in any way, so we go on a second date a week later. It was a short date. We had an early dinner, nothing went wrong, but there was nothing special and I was back home 90 minutes later after he picked me. Again, no sparks, but I told myself I'd go on one more date with him and that would be the deciding factor. I was still thinking that I was just not into him because he wasn't an idiot and maybe I was just scared of nice guys. Well, on our third date, he asked me to move in with him, offered to put me on his health insurance plan, and told me he loved me. I very gently told him that he was a great guy, but he was clearly more invested than I was, and that it wasn't fair to him, that he deserved to be with someone who was equally attracted to him. At the time he was cordial, but confused, and we parted ways. Next day, he posts a long rant on Facebook about how nice guys finish last. Girls only want to date a-holes, that he opened his heart and his home to this ungrateful chick, only to be slapped with rejection. He left it up for a few days, and then he blocked me. Story 5. He seemed great. We hit it off and worked through some early issues. He used to ignore me for days at a time to play video games with his friends. Not even a text of hello or sorry, I'm busy. His mom was diagnosed with cancer about a year in, and I moved in with him so I could spend as much time as possible with her and support him as she was terminal. 8 months after she passed away, a friend of mine found his profile on the dating app we met on. When confronted, he said he was just trying to make friends and that I couldn't count it as cheating because nobody ever messaged him back. We tried to work things out, but he was found a month later on the same dating site by the same friend. I wish I could say that was the end, but I gave him another chance. Over the next year, he became the most hateful, miserable man I've ever met, and I could no longer mentally handle it. He became depressed, blamed me for not letting him spend time with his mom when he could, which obviously wasn't true. I think he tried cheating on me, but never got the chance to actually do it. I really liked him at first, but after all of this, I was just done. So I moved out. We have never spoken to each other again. Story 6. Self proclaimed nice guys almost never are. If you're really a nice person, you don't need to advertise. Then, there are nice guys who really are nice, but in an overbearing way. No girl worth being with for the long term wants to be worshipped. I did end up marrying a truly nice guy. He made me laugh, he had his own life, and didn't expect me to be his whole world, or for me to change my life for him. He didn't play games. He listened to what I had to say and didn't come to me with a lot of assumptions about who I was supposed to be. Honestly, I changed some things about me because I wanted to take care of our relationship. It was my decision. He never asked. He always looks out for me, but knows I can look out for myself just fine. He's kind, and I have never met a person who didn't like him. He doesn't advertise his niceness because there's no need. There's something really awkward in calling yourself nice. It would make as much sense as sunshine advertising itself. Story 7. I decided to date this guy who was a close friend in high school and had always been there for me. And let me tell you, it was definitely an experience. I wasn't sure of dating him because of two reasons. One, I didn't want to lose him as a friend. And two, we had always told each other about our relationships, and somehow the girls he dated were always at fault. He kept crying, asking me why do girls treat nice guys so badly. Long story short, we both had broken up with our significant others, and he told me, maybe we should date each other. I laughed, but he didn't. So I told him, fine, let's do it. Not 1 month into our relationship, he took one of the pictures I had up on Facebook and made a background out of it for his Facebook page. Like, if you went to his profile, it was a tiled background of my face and it was creepy. But I didn't say anything as I wanted to give it a real chance. I quickly found out he was really clingy every time we were out in public, which wasn't often, thank God. I think it was his way to show people we were together. I had only just gotten my driver's license, and my parents hadn't completely let me go wherever I wanted. One day after school, I went to his house. My mom had gotten tickets to go see a movie, maybe Harry Potter or something, and said I had to be home by 6. This dude was being really weird, and then he said, hey, let's play a game. It's called Are You Comfortable? And it goes like this. I'm going to put my hand on your leg, and you tell me when you are uncomfortable. And he just put his hand on my thigh, super high. And I was like, dude, I'm uncomfortable already. And he started doing the, oh, come on, it's not that bad, I won't do anything. But he was starting to get more and more pushy about it. Thankfully, my mom called me and she's like, where are you? We're going to be late. I just told him I didn't look at the time and I ran out of that house. The next day, I saw him at school and he was asking me things like, were you really that turned on when we were hanging out? Is that why you left? He was just disgusting. That same day, I broke up with him. He didn't say much at school, and I thought it was over. Boy, was I wrong. I wasn't even home yet, and he was texting me threatening to unalive himself if I didn't date him. Changed his name on Facebook to some weird emo stuff like Black Flower Zombie or something like that, I don't remember. He didn't take off the Facebook background of my face, just put X's on my eyes in every photo. And I ended up getting called to the guidance counselor's office, who asked me what had I done to him. And I was like, guys, I just broke up with him. He's psychotic. I avoided him for the rest of the year and he ended up changing schools. I tried looking him up a while ago. He's apparently an Eagle Scout now, so I guess he's got that going for him. Story 8. He became very clingy very quickly. He would text me at stupid hours and get mad when I didn't reply. I would wake up with the same text on WhatsApp, Facebook, and normal messages, followed by, "Why are you ignoring me? Why are you doing this to me? I thought you liked me." I failed exams because he wanted to spend every waking hour with me and I couldn't just study. He would get offended when I wanted to have time for myself. Every time I would tell him to tone it down, he thought it was because I didn't love him enough. Every time. It's such a shame because we were such good friends before that. After we broke up, he turned all of our mutual friends against me. I spent a lot of my college years blaming myself and doubting if it was really my fault, thinking, maybe I should have been nicer. Maybe he really loved me. It was awful. Oh, I also forgot to mention that a few weeks in, he told me he'd unalive himself if I ever broke up with him. What a wonderful person. Story 9. Firstly, a genuine nice guy is not the one who keeps telling you he is. It's the one who makes you feel safe and isn't playing games with people. I met a genuinely nice guy 13 years ago when we were both in the same college classroom. He liked cats, board games, loves his family, wanted kids one day, liked to cook. I honestly couldn't believe how straightforward it felt to be around him. He told me later he was often friend-zoned by women he had an interest in, and was okay with it as he was looking for his perfect match. In fact, he expected that we would always only be friends. I ended up asking him out a couple of weeks later, and we started dating. A girl of our class told me she liked him a lot, but never got asked on a date. That's when I understood everything. We have been together for all 13 of those years, married for 7, and have a 5-year-old kid and 4 cats. Our families love each other, and his cooking just keeps getting better and better. Well, if you like the stories, here's more. YouTube thinks you're gonna love this. Bye!